Good evening, teacher. My name is Joseph Martin de Carvajal, and I talk about a workshop file. In this case, we start with step 1, open Adam's car, then activate manager plugin system. In this case, we need to put in Adam car track, then put OK. And step 2, create a full vehicle assembly. In this case, we need to put the right click in the dialog box, then put track, then find the file and put assembly in the software. Step 3, verify system units. In this case, we work with MMKS system, millimeter, kilogram, newton, second, and degree. But the guide tells you we can change for other type of results. So we put APS system. In this case, we work with inch, pound mass, pound force, second degree. And step 4, simulate full vehicle system. In this case, we need to use or start with a simulate with acceleration. Compare results using different velocities. We may have observed a lot of behaviors from the vehicle, so we need to change the velocities for a second evaluation. In this case, the first, the second, and the third simulation work with 40 km/h, but we need to change two values. In this case is fixed throw and duration of a step. In the first test is 2 and 2, the second is 1 and 2, and the third is 3 and 2. In step 5, we need to animate analysis results. We need to put in the button play, then only wait and see the simulation. The step 6 is the plotting analysis result. For this, the first simulation, we need to select the test number 1, then select result sets on the dialog box of source. Then on the window of result set, we need to find bus clutch demand, then select variable in this window. In the component window, select Q. Is the same for the others test. We need to add the curves and make a comparison. For the second and the third, we only select the second test and the same steps for the before test. The third plot, select the third test and select the component Q. It's the same for the test 2. In the three plots, we can see that the red curve decreases between 100 to 0, in the second 0.0 to 0.5 of the simulation. So red curve is the acceleration and the blue curve is the time of the clutch to return to initial state. From this, it can be said that the clutch allows the coupling and decoupling of the steering wheel of the engine. With the transmission with an initial velocity of 40 km/h, we can see the behavior of acceleration between 0.0 and 0.5 on the axle of X. So the velocity makes a change the behavior of the acceleration. For the questions, what is the function of a current clutch brake used in a heavy-duty powertrain? The function of the current clutch brake is to make friction between two surfaces. That is explained to input shaft and the transmission. The job of the clutch is to slow or stop the input shaft from turning to a low initial forward or reverse gear engagement in non-synchronous transmission, because we need to vary the velocity when we drive. The second is a problem between two technicians, as the technician Technician A says that a clutch disc should be reused unless wear or damage is severe. Technician B says that all replacement clutch parts should be carefully compared to the old parts to help ensure they will work properly. Who is right, in my opinion, depends on how worn it is and if it is within the allowable according to the manufacturer's manual, because the manufacturer's manual tells you in the manual the values and the limits permissible to operate with the system. So we need to verify the complete system because we need to check torque, torque, the friction, the pressures, and the velocity to engage and disengage. So I choose the last alternative, in this case neither A or B. And number 3, what is the most common clutch problem? The biggest problem is wear, which is caused by different factors. One of them is the bad lubrication or a bad selection of oil, either because the oil is contaminated. This generates wear on the disc. When the wear is excessive, there will be no friction between the components, so the clutch will start to slip, and eventually it won't transmit any power from the engine to the wheels. Number 4, vibration that occurs when the clutch is being engaged or disengaged is called. The reason for the vibration is the misalignment. This is a problem on gears or other types of system. When that occurs, the clutch assembly doesn't work properly with the flywheel. This problem causes the clutch engage unevenly, so applying an unbalance the load on the clutch and steering. The result of this process is the vibration. In addition to this, we can perceive unusual noises and unusual behavior in the pedal clutch. This is all for this video. Thanks.